Meet the latest generation of Ford's Transit Custom, except that this one is a little bit different. It's actually the E-Transit Custom, the E denoting electric. So it's a fully electric version of Ford's popular mid-sized delivery van. Now you get that by looking at the grille, unique to smooth the airflow across the front and also get it to stand out a bit more. So no diesel engine under there, and of course a charge port for topping up. Now otherwise, it is identical to any other Transit Custom. So you get the same body style, you get the same space in the rear that makes it obviously an extremely practical car. But of course the big thing with this thing, with the E-Transit version, is what it's like to drive. Does it stand up should you buy the electric version? The layout of the cabin and everything too is identical to a Transit Custom, and that is a good thing because it's really well thought out. So things like the door pockets, for example, you've got triple layer door pockets, so whatever you've got to hide, whatever you've got to stash, it'll fit in there somewhere. And if it doesn't, you've got a nice big pocket across the top here as well. So plenty of binnacles. Also plenty of USB charge ports, so keeping gadgets topped up, absolutely not an issue. You've got them up here, you've got them up in the storage areas here. You've even got a second glove box. So you've got a standard glove box down here at the passenger's knee, and another glove box on top of the dash. Now that's usually where the airbag would go, the passenger airbag. You can actually put the passenger airbag in the roof of the car. So it frees up all that space down there. And again, you've got another USB charge port in there. More USB chargers down here. So keeping things powered up, not an issue. And you've also got no shortage of tech. Big 13-inch touchscreen, for example, which generally works pretty well. I've got one gripe with it, which is when you want to select drive mode. So when you want to go in and change from eco to sport or normal, for example, you've actually got to press a button here, then have it come up on the screen, then select which one you want, and then go back to whatever it was you were doing. So that's a little bit of a hassle. You'd rather have it either a button on the steering wheel or something you can get in the regular instrument cluster. The E-Transit Custom also has over-the-air software capabilities. It's a pretty cool telematics that allows you to monitor the car remotely, and again, for businesses, that might have some decent applications, particularly in Australia. And some of the tech goes a bit further, and there's some cleverness going on there too. So often in commercial vehicles, you might add things to it, whether it's additional lights or some radios or whatever it might be, and you have to put them somewhere in the car. You've got to mount switches and controls for them. But Ford's actually devised a way where you can attach a module to the car. It actually goes under the seat, and then it interacts directly with the screen. So you can potentially activate those additional electronic features straight off that center screen. One area the E-Transit Custom is very different to the diesel-powered versions is in how it drives. So I've got a 64 kilowatt-hour battery under the floor, so reasonable capacity. It'll give you over 300 kilometres of WLTP range. Real-world range, somewhere around about that 300k mark, maybe a fraction into the high twos. But I guess for courier drivers, delivery drivers, people who are using it for their business, that should absolutely do the trick for running around town. And in Australia, we'll be getting a single motor version of this car. So it's a rear-mounted motor, so rear-wheel drive, 160 kilowatts of power. So it's not lacking in that thrust, in that pull, that really easy-going nature of an electric motor. So when you step on the throttle, straight away it's going. It's a pretty good and easy car to live with from that perspective. Also, because that motor's on the rear wheels, because it's a rear-wheel drive car, you don't have quite the issues of struggling for traction that you can sometimes get in a front-wheel drive van. So I guess straight away it's got that more easygoing nature through the bends as well. And of course it's quiet. The electric motor at least is quiet. The rest of the car, you do get a bit of tyre noise coming up, so you're starting to sort of hear some of that rumbling and roaring going on. And when you hit some bumps, again, you'll hear it come into the car. So there's a little bit of that going on, but overall, fairly quiet. Now, of course, the big question with the E-Transit Custom is how much it's going to cost. Ford hasn't announced that yet. The standard version, the diesel-powered version of the Transit Custom, well, that's selling for, starts at $56,990 plus on-road costs. So clearly it's going to be north of that. If you look at overseas examples in the UK, for example, around about 15% more for the electric version. So if we're going off similar numbers, somewhere around about the mid-60 start price, something like that. Maybe it'll go a bit higher, somewhere around about 70 grand plus on roads. But if you're thinking around about that level, that's probably about right. So the big question, is that e-badge worth it? Well, of course, the e-Transit is a lot more than a badge. It's what's going on beneath the skin that makes it a real standout. And the reality is, it's a big step up over the diesel. It drives better. It gives you the potential to save a lot in the way of running costs. For me, the big question will be the price. If they can get it in at a pretty sharp price, then sure, it'll make a lot more sense over the diesel. But they've got to get that price right.